Live. And we're doing it live, everybody. We are
And we're
recording.
doing it. We're doing it fucking live.
Yeah. By live, I mean recording, not live.
It's live for us.
This is
Are we keeping
pre
this part in?
this is pre-recorded, which is traditionally when you record things.
Are we keeping this in?
What's that?
Are we keeping this in? I'm just making
Oh
sure
yeah,
that
no,
I
we're
know that.
keeping most of this in.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to Jacob and Josh Read the News, now featuring Josh again. My name is Josh.
Yes, Josh is back and I'm Jacob, as you know, because I've been here now more than he has. So
I
despite the
look.
fact
I took 2 weeks off for a vacation that
you
I
took two
needed,
weeks
and
off
we
from
got a
you took a
and we
two
got
week
eloped.
vacation from a podcast we'd recorded 3 episodes on.
I told you we started this at an inopportune time, but
Well,
you know,
everything's
oh well.
inopportune.
It's true. There's no opportune time these days. Gestures broadly at world on fire.
Yes.
Um, so I got married in Portland as a hipster piece of shit. It was inevitable. Uh,
Your poor
so
wife.
oh man, I love her so much. I'm gonna become an even more insufferable wife guy. Um,
Yes.
but on this trip, we also went to the Pacific Northwest, and I wanted, if it's okay with you, Jacob, to start off with a little show and tell. Because I went to the redwoods in California, and I met a park ranger and was just talking to him and getting some perspectives as someone who's like a civil servant. They're basically librarians in the woods, so
Sure.
they like to talk and give out info. And I kind of probed this guy. We're going to keep his name anonymous because you'll see why in a minute. But I talked to him about the situation with the government shutdown and getting paid. I also asked him about unions as well as local flora and fauna. So,
Okay.
do you want to hear what? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go for it. Go for it. This is
Um,
Josh's story time.
yeah, this is well. I think this is going to be a new segment, maybe called like info dump, or maybe it'll be its own episode at some point in the feed, where basically one of us just kind of talks at the other on something that they learned, like a show and tell of some kind.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
Um, But this was at the Prairie Creek Redwood National Parks Visitor Center. What's really interesting about the redwoods is that they are one of the only national parks that are free to and everyone. And I couldn't quite understand what he was explaining this as, but there was basically some loophole as they were buying the land. And so the government had to buy both the land and the trees from the loggers. So they had to spend a lot of money on it. So the California taxpayers were already paying a bunch of money. And so because of the amount of money that they had to pay in taxes for this situation, they basically decided to make the whole park free.
Hell yeah.
There are very few like this. And so, what is also interesting about the California forests is because of that, they are both a state park and a national park. And there are very few of these as well. And this makes a unique situation where the park rangers there actually still made some money during the government shutdown because California itself wasn't shut down. And according to this park ranger I talked to, he said that they got a back pay of everything that they were owed. So it sucks.
Okay.
Money was tight for 2 months, but they at least got
They
compensated for
may
what they did.
do.
Right, they made do. So poking and prodding, seeing if he was a fellow progressive or not, and I was able to suss that he was. I started asking him about unions, and I was like, "So are you guys unionized?" And he kind of pitter pattered around and said, no, not yet. We've been entertaining the idea about basically there's several different ranger stations in the area, and they're trying to kind of collaborate in a united front before they, do that. But likely, if they were to unionize, they would join the post office union, is what he was telling me.
Interesting. The National Union of Postal Workers and Forest Rangers.
And yeah, exactly right.
Yes.
It's a good 1-2 punch, man. What is a forest ranger if not a mailman of the woods? I'm just saying that they're everything of the woods now. uh, So part of his job is educator, right? People come to them and ask questions, and he's able to explain and this, that, and the third. And so he started talking to me about educating right wing MAGA people. And he's just like, I've learned that you just have to switch words around. And he says, instead of saying evolution, I say change over time. And then, of course, I went back and forth with him, and I was like, but what is evolution? If you consider for a moment that the world is not 6,000 years old and it is, in fact, millions of years old, what is change over time except evolution? But oftentimes, most Christians believe that the world is only 6,000 years old. And so, of course, well, evolution can't happen much on that scale.
Right.
But if you think for a moment that it happened anyway, so this just kind of goes along with something that you and I have talked about, which is that the left has a branding problem. They're terrible at marketing,
Dog
and I
shit at it,
suggest we
yes.
stop using the word socialism and start saying worker owned.
Yes.
That's my contribution. To learn some facts about wood, Jacob. So you're familiar with tannins? Yes, they make booze
Yes.
taste good.
They do.
Uh, they're also antifungal, antimicrobial, uh, antibacterial, and
So if you've got a fungal infection, drink whiskey.
rub whiskey on it.
Well, you got to drink it to make sure. Just because some of that, because spores you could have inhaled and or swallowed, and you got to deal with that.
But all this is to say, what makes redwoods red is a high amount of tannins, and so what is both sad and cool about it is this makes it really good for logging. They're very straight pieces of wood that don't rot, and in Northern California, it's a wetland. I mean, not a wetland; it's a rainforest,
Yes,
right? It's
temperate,
a it,
like
it's a
Appalachia, temperate
right.
rainforest.
Right, exactly, right? And so with that comes a lot of moisture, which comes rot. But if you make a cabin out of redwoods, the natural tannins work as fungicides, work as antimicrobial. The wood is less likely to warp or splinter than, say, a new growth tree, like a
Yeah.
pine or something. So, unfortunately, that caused all of Americans to cut a lot of them down, but there's still a shit ton of them. And let me tell you, Jacob, it was crazy being in the middle of Endor. Um,
did the
like,
did
whole,
did the teddy bears attack?
uh, Jacob, I am the teddy bear.
But enough about your BDSM culture.
My kink is not your culture. Um, or maybe the other way around. I don't remember. So Um, another really cool, another really cool thing about the trees that I didn't realize. Did you know that they have really shallow roots? The redwoods. They only go down about 15 feet.
Oh no, no! I figured they would be
Really deep.
massive. Yeah.
But they're wide. They're very wide, and they rely on the mycelial structure to kind of talk to each other and stuff like that. But the reason why, if it's raining all the time, you don't need to go deep. You know, if there's so much water all the time, you don't need a deep root. You just get it from
That's what she
near
said.
the surface.
I was trying not to, but there are just too many
Hey, listen,
opportunities.
listen. If we're talking about redwood, it's only a matter
It's
of time before the
there.
big
It's
jokes
just
come out.
there.
It's
Yeah.
it's there hanging out. It's just hanging out. It's really big. It's big in the room, and we got to talk about it. Um, but so because of that, other trees, in order to get more water, the smaller new growth trees puncture through that root level and are deeper. So it's kind of like they're no longer competing with each other, which I thought was pretty cool. Moving on, I'll end with talking about the banana slug. Are you familiar with the banana slug?
I am not familiar with the banana slug.
So the banana slug is yellow, like a banana, and they're kind of a mascot to at least that parks department. I don't know about all um, uh, redwood park rangers, but that specific lodge was really big fans of them, and he was telling me about them. So they eat the pine the pine needles that fall off of the trees. So they're actually like really important to the ecosystem. They're decomposers. They're bright yellow, which both works as a camouflage because there are some bright yellow leaves around that area that look like them. and it also acts as a deterrent because people say, "Oh, that's a banana slug," and their mucus around themselves works like Alka-Seltzer. If a predator puts it in its mouth, this really bitter numbing agent happens and foams up in their mouth.
Mm,
It lathers.
okay.
So basically, you eat it and you're just like, I don't want this. So most animals have,
So you
yeah.
look rabid.
Right, exactly. And like it kind of has that, from what I understand, it has that like Szechuan pepper numbing effect. So
Ooh.
animals are like, the fuck is this? I don't want this. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before humans cultivate it for some weird food. But he also told me about one of his park buddies who saw and recorded a raccoon doing something like this. Is, as far as I could tell, this is a sense of tools. I don't care what you like. People say that like crows are in their stone age. Raccoons are right there with them.
Oh yeah, totally.
So this raccoon was next to a stream and had a banana slug, and he was rolling it in the pine sap. I mean the pine sap, then scraping off the mucus with his paws, and then dunking it in the water and repeating that process, getting the mucus off of this dead slug.
Ooh.
So he's literally like
He's cleaning
he's
it.
cleaning it. Yeah, he's cleaning it. He's
He's
using the
preparing
sap.
his food.
Right. Like that's cooking, dude.
Yeah.
like
That's
what's the difference between that and like me making sushi and gutting a fish? Like that is meal prep.
it is. No, dude, raccoons are awesome. I mean, you know I love raccoons. I'm Appalachian. I have to love raccoons.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you're Appalachian and a misfit. So like, raccoons, possums, like
yes, big fan.
pigeons. Yeah. All of the
Crows.
scavengers that have been
Bears.
discarded by,
Bears are just very large raccoons in some respects.
if
Um,
not friend, why friend
or friend
shaped?
shaped. Yes, they're very cute.
Oh, I just found it in my notes. Yeah, it is a Stellar J.
Stellar
Yep.
J. The answer
Oh.
that no one was waiting for has been found.
Uh,
We
I'm
want
glad I remembered.
answers. We want answers to why are we invading Greenland? What do we do about
Oh,
economic collapse?
listen, I was
But
trying to
but the
do
answer
something a little fun.
but the answer we
Look,
get is Stellar J.
well, dude, look, I had a fun vacation. It was one
Yeah,
of the best vacations ever. It was,
fuck
like
yeah.
I wanted to share. It was some show and tell from something that wasn't the horrors.
Yes,
But
good.
now that we're done with that, let's get on to the horrors.
The
Where do you want to start,
horrors.
Jacob? I have a
Oh
lot
boy.
to talk about.
Yeah, there's it's only been a horrifying week. It's we've had a year and a week.
Did you hear about the guy who had hundreds of skeletons in his house?
I, I saw a headline, but I didn't have time to look into the mountain of bones. Normally, that would get my attention.
Jacob, I'm gonna send you a link in Discord, and I want you to just look at what this guy looks like, um, because like it's pure poetry.
Oh dear
I mean, look,
God,
it's terrible. He's a grave robber, or at least allegedly a grave robber. This is from ABC News
Gerlach.
uh in the Leland Pinder. This took place in Pennsylvania. Um,
Because they don't have enough weirdness.
no, quote, a Lancaster County man is facing more than 500 charges after investigators said that they discovered more than 100 human skeleton remains in his home. Officers say a Tuesday night arrested a 34-year-old Jonathan Gerlach, culminated months-long investigation into break-ins at the Mount Moriah Cemetery in Eden, where at least 26 mausoleums and vaults had been forced over since early November. They can't tell how many bodies it is because they're not sure if this is like a part of a different body or whatever. This is a quote from the DA from Delaware County in Pennsylvania. Detectives walked into a horror movie come to life the other night. This is an unbelievable scene. Understand, some of these are 200 years old. Some are obviously much newer, but there's one with the pacemaker still attached.
Oh dear God.
Yeah. It seems that they also believe other remains were found from other cemeteries throughout the region. They are also investigating a Facebook group called Human Bones and Skull Selling Group, where Gerlach was tagged in pictures holding skulls. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. This is a very serious issue. It's just when I get uncomfortable, I laugh.
Well, it's also the fact that this, again, most people would have missed this. When normally, if this was at any other time in the last 40 years, this would be like the story.
Top news. This is
like,
page 6.
Yeah, for weeks. This would be the thing, is the weird guy with all the bones. But now, okay, dude with bones. That's whatever.
Yeah. Sure. What about Venezuela?
Yes. Why are we invading a mountain of ice?
This is a quote from a local. It's supposed to be a nice, quaint little town, and here you have someone with bodies in their house, says Kim Hackman.
Well,
I just want to know the motive.
Look, it's still a nice, quiet town. It's very quiet if everyone's dead.
It's much more quiet now. Look, if we don't laugh at the horrors, then we cry.
It might as well be funny. Look, I just me and Robin just went and got brunch with some friends over in Morganton, and I was telling them about the podcast. I was like, look, if you guys want to hear mentally ill people explain and make jokes about terrible things, we're your guys.
Honestly, that's our tagline. 2 mentally ill dudes making jokes about the horrors.
Yes. That's what we do.
Do you want to ping pong this time? Do you want to bring me a piece of news, or do you want me to keep going?
So I jumped on and we started recording, so I didn't have links pulled up yet.
I have plenty to work with. That's fine.
Okay, go for it. Yeah. I carried this shit while you were in the Pacific Northwest. On my back, by the sweat on my brow, I kept this show afloat with our tens of viewers.
Calm down, Ayn Rand. Okay, Okay, so have you heard about RFK's new food pyramid?
Yes. It's
just the other pyramid reversed.
Yeah, it's the great thing about this is it's a literal ripoff from South Park, where they were analyzing gluten in your food, and it makes your dick fly off. You inject raw gluten, and your penis turns into a rocket and blasts around the room. And the answer to the food pyramid...
Steve are the devil!
Yeah,
Put some butter on it.
Well, no, the answer was to invert the food pyramid, and so the national crisis ended with everyone just eating massive steaks covered in butter.
Yeah, the keto diet.
Yes, Mr. President, put more butter on your steak. That's what we now have as national policy.
So first off, the food pyramid that you and I grew up with was created by the Department of Agriculture. So it had nothing to do with nutrition. They were trying to get us to eat more grains, which is why there were 12. They wanted you to eat like a loaf of bread a day. But that hasn't been relevant, I think, in about 15, 20 years. They made a new food pyramid, which is now 86th for this inverted pyramid, aka the Cards Against Humanity branded food pyramid. Look at this font and tell me this is not just Cards Against Humanity, brother. They use like flat black and flat white. It like all of the branding. I'm just like I'm waiting for it to say shitting in a bucket. Like.
And it's eat real food. It's like they're trying to get us to say earth.
Okay, so this is something I've noticed as a trend. They used to be like on food advertising in the grocery store, on the label would be like made with real cheese, which is already very concerning, right? That you have to say that it's already. But I've noticed more than one instance of things being like made with real food, and I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, even citric acid made in a lab is real food. Do you mean whole foods? Do you mean not lab grown? But that lab grown food is still food. I don't understand. I don't get it, Jacob. This is just like, welcome to Costco. I love you. We're in idiocracy.
Yes. Yes.
Eat real food. This sounds like something out of Idiocracy, man.
Eat real food. And it's let me look at this again. Yeah, you want very little bread and rice, massive steak, cheese, a chicken. Eat a whole roast chicken. Your fish should be as big as the largest steak you can find.
Yeah, that's a slab of albacore tuna.
And 2 strawberries and 4 grapes and 4 grapes exactly.
No, those are blueberries. There's a whole bushel of grapes next to the.
Oh, you're right. You're right. 4 blueberries. No more.
1 potato. 1 potato. No 1 butternut squash.
We don't know what more than 4 blueberries will do to you. Look,
Don't tell my niece.
As a carnivore, you know, like I'm okay with this. Like, for once, I'm more in touch with the food pyramid than everyone else. This isn't a good thing. I am aggressively unhealthy. They're making me healthy officially on paper.
I don't know if you heard about this, but while RFK was in a press conference, his ringtone went off several times, and it was quack, quack, quack. His own phone called him a quack. Like this is parody is obsolete. His text tone is a duck quacking. You guys hadn't noticed. All of my news stuff isn't the main stuff. I'm sure that you all know about Miss Good being brutally assassinated in broad daylight. I am not covering it intentionally. I think we've all heard enough about this, and I was bringing more absurd things.
We need that. I do want to talk about the serious things once we've made some jokes, but yes.
Oh, sure. No. All I'm saying is I'm not going into detail with those things because I feel also, if someone is listening to this podcast, they already know those details.
Yeah, that's true. And also, just because no one has the ability to pay attention to all of this shit, and some of this is so insane and stupid, it's hilarious.
Speaking of,
we do what we do.
Speaking of, you can buy a fully functional mech, Jacob.
What?
A Japanese startup unveiled a 4.5 meter tall humanoid robot called Arcax. Archax. I don't know how to pronounce that. Arcax. This is from lapaas.org. This is from lapaas.com. Lapass. I don't know. Why is everything ass? Why is everything ass today? I don't know. A Tokyo-based startup company has stunned the robotics world by unveiling Arcax, a 4.5 meter tall humanoid robot that can be piloted from an internal cockpit.
Yes.
This is Sumabe Industries, and if you look at it, it's quadrupedal. Do you see the thing I dropped in the chat?
Yeah, I'm reading it.
It's quadrupedal, and it has arms and a head, and it can come in various colors. You can get it in different colors, which is exciting. Key features of the robot: humanoid and mecha-like. Arcax resembles giant robots seen in popular animes, similar to Mobile Suit Gundam, with articulated arms.
It's Armored Core. Like, I'm looking at it, and it's just Armored Core, which is a great old school PlayStation. Game.
It's also a transformer. It can go into a taller mode. That's the craziest part.
Oh my God.
It has dual modes. The robot can switch between a standing robot mode and a movable vehicle mode.
Okay, it's only $3 million.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna crowdfund.
No, like, that's the thing. That is insanely cheap for what this is.
Like, can you imagine the tariffs on that?
Oh dear God. Look.
It's battery powered, by the way. It's running on a battery powered system.
All right, Josh, when we get insanely stupid rich, we're buying a mech suit. That's just happening.
This is my favorite part of the article, which is commercial plans and future uses. Because, like, yeah, this is cool, but why?
Because we want to? Okay, it says disaster relief and recovery. Could one day support rescue operations.
So they could, like, lift up logs and girders and
literally
things to get
and space exploration, which is giant piloted robots in off. It's Gundam. It's just Gundam. Like,
So anyway,
I
the
need a
horrors
laser
persist.
sword. I need a laser sword. I need a giant laser cannon, a massive Gatling gun, and a heads up display that drives you insane. That's the Zero system. That's
So the horrors persist, but we have mecha.
We have robots. Like this.
Um, let's see. Of a recent study shows that El Pastor tacos may be healthier than a granola bar.
Fuck yes. I am immortal. I am eternal. I am the
So
rocks of the eternal shore. Crash against me and be broken.
I knew this was gonna make you happy. This is from B Latino. This is from B Latina Daily. Um, Scientists say your taco El Pastor may be healthier than your granola bar. A study that questions what can be "quote unquote" healthy. The current fascinations with foods signal wellness, encourage many consumers to reach for bars filled with grains and snacks that claim to support better health habits. Yet multiple international studies show that most of these products contain a lot of sugar, sodium, and added fats, far exceeding recommendations of the World Health Organization and the FDA. Um, so
But you
this
know what's
study called,
pure? Seasoned pork.
well, that's what we're getting at. The study called Antijitos Mexicanos Una Fuerte Energía compared tacos al pastor and flautas de conchita pibil. The students used specialized equipment to turn each sample into a uniform mixture. So they they had a machine that chewed the food. That's a $10 word way of saying they had a machine that mushed it all up. They put it in a blender.
I'm just picturing like just a Terminator head. Just,
That's exactly what it was, Jacob. It was a T-1000, no skin head, just chewing.
with Arnold eating sounds.
Their findings showed that Al Pastor tacos had a 42% moisture rating, 11% fat rating, and 20% protein, as well as 1% minerals. The flautas offered considerable moisture and fat, but contained higher carbohydrates and lower protein. Um, so yeah, anyway, I just wanted to put this out that like the idea of what is healthy and what isn't is kind of silly. Just eat what you want to eat and get something that has vitamin C in it so you don't get scurvy.
Somewhere,
That's
yes.
that's
That's
Hey, Al Pastor rub is made from peppers. Peppers have vitamin C. You're
it
good.
does. And I eat lots of pizza which has tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce.
Therefore, I am healthy.
Look, according to Ronald Reagan's Department of Health, there's been some talk in. I'm a big animation head, and the public domain always gets thrown around every year because things enter into the public domain. Like Steamboat Willie is in the public domain now, which
Right.
is the first version of Mickey Mouse. The original Winnie the Pooh is now in public domain, which is the version without the red top. And it's very important that you distinguish what is and isn't in the public domain. There's been a lot of misnomers about what is in the public domain this year, and I'm just here to correct the record. Some people have been saying that Betty Boop, all of Betty Boop, is now in the public domain. That is not true. It is only her 1930s cartoons.
Sure.
So, this is from the Fleischer Studios,
Yeah.
who owns most of Betty Boop now. Ever since the appearance of Betty Boop character in the Fleischer Studios cartoon Talkatoons, people have been all over the world associated with the Betty Boop name, imagery, and brand, and the magic of Fleischer Studios, yada yada yada, jerking themselves off. In 1930, a precursor to Betty Boop character, from the series Dizzy Dishes. Only over a period of years did that character evolve into the character we now recognize as Betty Boop. So this precursor is the one that is in the public domain. While the copyright of Ditsy Dishes cartoon may fall into the public domain in 2026, That's this year, in case you guys didn't know. We're in the big 26 now. This does not affect Fleischer Studios'
No.
copyright on the fully developed Betty Boop character. No.
That's
So anyway, don't use the normal Betty Boop still, or you may get sued. I mean, if you're a carnival barker and you spray paint on a T-shirt, you're fine because no one's gonna sue some carny. But you know, they always put like the Superman S or like Betty Boop or
well,
like Tasmanian Devil in like in like baggy pants on a
well,
on a T-shirt.
and that's what I was about to talk about. Is we're about to enter a period of years where the early versions of Superman, Batman, Captain America, Namor the Submariner, a lot of these are going to be entering the public domain in some form.
Yeah, in the next 5-6 years. Yeah.
Especially the Max Fleischer Studios Superman cartoons, which was the
Oh man,
which
yeah.
was the first Superman thing that anybody actually was exposed to in mass.
Yeah. So
And then
when
and then the 1940s racist Batman movie serials.
with the floppy ears, and he just drives a regular car.
He just drives a normal car. He can't do martial arts. He just jumps cross.
That was the first instance of the Batcave. I don't know if you know that.
It was. I do. It's in the word stately Wayne Manor. And
he fought like the Chinaman or something ridiculous.
Oh
like
no!
that.
So he fought
Ming the Merciless, maybe something.
No, it was Dr. Tito Daka, agent of the Rising Sun, who this is World War II racist propaganda. It's terrible, and I love it. It's an amazing piece of superhero history, and
these were originally put in Nickelodeons. They were put in
these were like 20-minute
movie theaters,
20-minute
next to news.
Yeah, 20-minute little short films that you would go see at the movie theater, and
the first 5 minutes were recapping last episode.
Yes,
and the last 5 minutes were just some bullshit cliffhanger.
It always every episode ended with Batman getting his ass kicked,
or like being kicked off a ledge or
kicked
something.
Off a ledge, thrown, knocked unconscious because he was poked too hard, and there's an elevator about to crush him. How will he survive? Tune in at this theater next week.
And then it's just like, I have this thing that gets me out of this thing, and then it's done with that at the beginning, and then they get into a new.
And they had
anyway.
I was going to talk about the radium gun, but go for it.
Oh, go for it. No,
because it also included a radium gun, which is a nonsense like nuclear cannon that you just held in your hand, and it would just shine a light, and then cinder blocks would explode. And Dr. Tito Daka had like some sinister Japanese machine that would cause people to turn into zombies, and he fed people to alligators. It's so terribly good. I love it so much. And it's going to be in public domain, so we can do stuff with it. I'm very
in the next like 3 to 5 years or something. So speaking of Batman and Superman, so one of the things I did in Seattle when I was there is I went to the MoPop, the Museum of Pop, and there was this mini guest exhibit that was all about Jewish comic makers and comic characters that are Jewish that you may not know. Obviously, you and I do because we're us, but the average person.
And us, not people without our specific variety of mental illness.
But one of the artifacts that they had there was the original suit from the 1950s live action Superman show. And let me tell you, it looks like his mom made it, which made me really happy.
Yeah,
like I'll send you a photo once I dig through my vacation. Right, exactly. But I mean, like, it was great, and anyway, it pointed out that as you and I know that Peter Parker is Jewish, at least culturally, and that Batman has Jewish roots, and
and the Thing and Shadowcat. And
they weren't mentioned, but yes, they're also God's chosen people.
Anytime. Okay, that makes me question the quality of this exhibit, because if you're
it only had 12 square feet, man. They couldn't include that much. That was the limiting factor. They crammed in as much as they could.
Look. All I'm saying is the issue where Ben Grimm has his bar mitzvah is lovely.
It is lovely. Have you been hearing about Guillermo del Toro bashing AI? Are you familiar with this at all?
Vaguely.
So, over the past couple of months during his press tours for Frankenstein and also just Comic Cons and whatever, he's been really critical of AI.
Sure.
Uh, and This is from Variety. Guillermo del Toro saying art is not important is always a prelude to fascism. So tech companies are trying
Mm.
to say like art is not important, art is belittled, and he's saying that that is always what comes when fascism comes as well. This is a quote from Mr. Del Toro: "Be kind, be involved, be believe in your art. At a time
Yeah.
when people are telling you that your art is not important, there is always a prelude to fascism. When they tell you that it doesn't matter, when they tell you that a fucking app can do your art, you say, if it's that important, why the fuck do they want, if it's not that important, why the fuck do they want it so bad? The
Mm.
answer is because they can debase everything that makes us a little better, a little more human. And that, in my book and in my life, includes monsters." Um,
Ooh.
so,
He's right.
um, Yeah, sometimes the world gets so complicated you can only express it with the power of monsters. We are in a time like that now. So if you've seen the recent Frankenstein, I can't recommend it enough. It's on Netflix. It is it is one of the most accurate versions of the book that I've ever seen taken to film, and
Mm-hmm.
also it has a big anti-AI theme to it. Um,
Who'd have thought?
so I,
It's
yeah,
alive.
the modern Prometheus.
Yes. The postmodern
Oh,
Prometheus. That's actually a great name for a band.
the postmodern Prometheus.
Yeah.
Uh,
But no, that
did you?
actually all that I was just gonna say. All that does is really remind me of my favorite Bukowski poem, "The Genius of the Crowd."
Mm,
You know. Uh,
it's a very Bukowski heavy day today for some reason.
well, yeah, yeah, he was a pretty good read. Uh,
Jacob Blair, Bukowski, a pretty good read.
look,
Uh,
Isaac Brock said it first.
uh, I don't know if you heard, but 90 some odd percent of all Spotify music got scraped and is going to be torrented.
All right.
So like over 90% uh of Spotify's music library was scraped, and they're working on
Uh,
setting up a large torrent of terabytes of data.
I mean, I'm how terrible. I've I'm so sorry for the
well,
Swedish company.
well,
Uh,
so that is funding AI driven bombs. Like,
that's
um, so,
and
so
that pays people a pittance for their
yeah,
creativity.
I think Weird Al said that for his song that went like multi-million plays,
Uh huh.
he got enough to order a sandwich. Like he said, it was like $14.
Cool, cool. Could get a decent, ham on rye.
Stop mentioning Bukowski.
That one was actually an accident. That was actually an accident.
God damn it. So yeah, so once again, I believe we talked about this prior. Piracy is almost always connected to archiving information, and so that
Yeah.
the hacktivist group that did this is basically like, look, all it takes is one company taking things off that will make this all go away, so we don't want that. um so this is from Billboard magazine. A spokesperson from Spotify said the following statement, quote, "Spotify has identified and disabled the nefarious user accounts that were engaged in unlawful scraping. We've implemented new safeguards for anti-copyright attacks and are currently monitoring for suspicious behavior. Since day one, we have stood with the artist community against piracy," which is not true, actually. It was originally a peer-to-peer site. So It was originally a piracy site. I'm sorry.
Uh,
It was essentially LimeWire with social media. Um, this is coming from recording from Anna's archive.
uh-huh.
Allegedly has 256 million rows of tracks of metadata and 86 million audio files.
Oh my God.
As of Sunday, December 21st, the report indicates it's only metadata and not music files that have been released.
Oh, they just
Hold on.
lost. Anna's Archive just lost its .org domain,
Oh no.
but claims that
Uh,
it's unlikely related to the scraping of Spotify's music library. That's a bit coincidental, though. Just saying. 300 terabytes of music.
Coincidence? I think not, dear listener. Anna's archive, which typically focuses on books and papers, says the project is a part of preserving humanity's knowledge and culture and describes the Spotify scrape as an effort to build music archive primarily aimed at preservation. The post adds, of course, Spotify doesn't have all the music in the world, but it's a great start.
It
So,
is a massive amount, and I will not be downloading this. We at this channel do not endorse.
we do not condone piracy. Wink, wink.
Yes, we are not endorsing crime of any kind, and how dare you accuse us otherwise?
Um, do you wanna end with us talking about the bad things?
Yeah, because
Oh, wait, here's one more. Before we get into the cops, NASA's largest library is being shut down uh, amongst staff and lab cuts. The Goddard Space Flight Center is basically having to give up their documents. Most of them are not scanned in, so we're just going to lose a bunch of this as they get rid of it. They're scrounging to upload as much as they can digitally, but this is anywhere from early 20th century uh, U.S. Soviet space race to up until modern times. So
okay,
just all the more reason to say that you know piracy is a form of archiving.
it
Um,
is. It is. I mean, it is not. It is a crime that
uh,
has
I mean, things
victims.
can both be a crime
The
and
Josh,
archive.
Josh, this is an era of black and white, good and evil, and we have to pick this
Neo
side.
McCarthyism.
And yes, we would never side against our very American corporate overlords.
This podcast is not approved by the Hayes Code.
um,
See you. Hey. See you at the firing squad, comrade.
yes. Party behind the
uh,
sheds.
do I get to smoke a joint instead of a cigarette at the end? Can they give me that luxury? Why?
Yeah, I think
It's not so bad, actually.
I,
Boom, boom.
I mean, I think they should, just because. I mean, we already have dispensaries. It's so common that seems like a reasonable thing. No, actually, they probably wouldn't, because now they wouldn't give you a final cigarette because it'll give you cancer.
Can I at least hit this vape? Uh,
Ugh.
so, yeah, Minneapolis is
It's okay. Before
yeah.
okay, why is it always Minnesota? Why is it always Minnesota?
I mean, there's the mix of. I mean, if you're actually asking, and this isn't a rhetorical question, it's because there's a large Somali population there. Even though that most of them are American citizens, that's become a scapegoat of the country.
Yes.
Historically speaking, it's a very segregated town, and with that comes racial tensions. And it was
Yeah.
the center for the Black Lives Matter movement. Uh, t- it probably doesn't help that Tim Walz is from there. Um, It's just become this kind of pressure cooker. And I've got a friend who lives.
And George Floyd was murdered there,
Well,
and
right,
kicked off
right.
the last time
The
this
whole
happened.
BMM.
Um,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the second time, and the reason I'm bringing that up, it's because, everyone knows what just happened. A woman, Renee Good, was shot in the face in
4
her
times.
car while
Attempting to drive away.
Because a masked man approached her vehicle, said, "Get the fuck out of the car."
Several masked men, and
Yeah.
one of them told them to stay in their car and drive away. So she was given conflicting information from several different screaming masked men.
But the one who was approaching her car, who was putting
Yeah.
his hands through the window, was ordering her to get out of the car. Again, a man in a mask with looked like Timu body armor. No clear identification of any kind, which to me negates you ever being a legitimate law
Right.
enforcement officer if
Right.
we can't see your fucking face. So yeah,
Always ask for their badge numbers,
so
kids.
she freaked out and hit the gas. Meanwhile, this other guy went around her car, stepped in front of it as she hit the gas, fired shots at her face, stepped out of the way. Completely unharmed, completely ungrazed. And the President of the United States immediately began labeling her as a domestic terrorist. And again, I'm not convinced that she was blocking anything.
She wasn't. If you look at the footage, cars were able to drive around her.
She was letting people go around. Like, she had just dropped.
It's not against the law to observe ICE agents. It's not against the law to do what she was doing. Even if it was, you don't have to shoot him in the face.
And she just dropped her kid off from school.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I could tell, from everything that I've seen about this, seems to me more like she was just going home or on her way somewhere.
Yeah.
When this was happening in front of her. And the video, because I've seen the video from the dash cam from the shooter, from his perspective. He gets
the body cam, yeah.
Yeah, the body cam. As he walks up towards her, sees her, she smiles at him, she waves at him. She's like, "No, man, I'm not even mad at you." And he walks around, gets in front, fires shots, steps out of the way unharmed.
But first, before he fired shots, he pulls out his phone to record them. It's like the classic, "Oh, you're recording me, I'm recording you" kind of thing. And then he puts his phone away only to grab his firearm, and he discharges his firearm 4 times in her face. I want to repeat that. Every extra shot, first off, you shouldn't have shot her at all, but every extra shot is excessive force. That's why I keep underlining this, right? It's like, this is egregious on 4 discrete, separate accounts, right? Also, they refused to let. There was a physician nearby. There was a doctor nearby, and he was trying to check the body. They were refusing him to go check on her, and look for vital signs. And
carried her out of the car like a sack of taters.
Did you see the cop who was at the memorial center, like kicking down flowers and things like that?
Yeah.
Ugh. This is disgusting. And the thing is this is not unique. This is just a white woman that it happened to.
Yeah.
And
that's what I was going to say. It's like this is going to be, there's multiple reasons for it. This is going to be bigger than the George Floyd protests. This is going to be more impactful for a number of reasons. One, she was a white woman, soccer mom. Like, it sucks.
Yeah,
but
optics matter. Whatever you want to say. Right.
In the George Floyd moment, you had groups like police unions defending the murderer. You had super conservatives like, he was just a gangster, who cares, being shitty. Now you have the President of the United States, the Secretary of Homeland Security. This is a federal institutional defense of a goon given a gun to round up people and rip apart families and send them to camps. Shot a woman in the face.
Well, and it's also going to be larger news because Tim Walz and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the mayor of
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. Thank you. The mayor of Minneapolis, are fighting this so publicly and are condemning this and telling ICE to leave their state and things like
Yeah,
that. So,
Jacob
and,
Frey.
and people are getting mad. Say again.
Jacob Frey's his name.
Yeah, thank you. And Frey dropped an F bomb and was like, "This is fucking ridiculous," and people are getting upset at him dropping an F bomb. And it's like, dude, a woman was shot in the face 4 times, and you're mad at someone cussing on television. Get over it.
Get some fucking perspective.
Right. Well, and this is just respectability podcast. This is just respectability politics all over again. It's like, oh, well, what? You can't be nice and have decorum when your constituents are being shot in the face? Like, what? What are we even talking about here? No. The president is calling a random woman a terrorist. What are we talking about?
And it's at that moment when you begin to when you tone down your emotion for the sake of maintaining decorum, you're playing into that game. You are giving you are giving ground and ceding points to the people defending a murderer. It's yeah.
It's terrible. It's despicable. I can't I know I just keep repeating myself, but this is just and the only rational response to this is abolish ICE. That is the moderate. That is the look. ICE is younger than both of us, right? It's only 20 years old. We can get rid of it. It is not a large institution.
It does not have institutional staying power. It hasn't provided us vital services of high quality that anyone relies on. And it exists to be a far right-wing Gestapo serving at the whims of a deranged president, targeting minority communities.
Please call your congressmen, your congresswomen, and tell them if they want to be reelected, they have to stand against ICE. This is unacceptable. This is I hope that this woman's death causes actual change. I'm saddened to see that it had to happen like this, and it sucks that it has to be a woman.
The other aspect, a white woman. The other aspect is, I mean, she was a fucking person who was killed. It doesn't.
Yeah.
But
no, I know. But I'm saying it didn't happen with Floyd, right? Nothing. What I'm trying to say is
no institutional change happened because of But what I'm
right.
But this was inevitable when you when you have an organization that's already not cooperative in the normal sense, that already doesn't behave like a normal law enforcement organization
with impunity.
With impunity, and then you more than triple their ranks rapidly with people who were part of the January 6th insurrection who had served time.
They have more money than the IDF. Their budget is larger than the Israeli Defense Fund.
Their budget their budget is larger than the U.S. Marine Corps. Their budget is larger than the entire military budget of Russia, who is at war. This is an evil organization operating on behalf of a deranged president that exists to rip people apart, and anytime someone's in their way, they will be killed. This was inevitable. This was always going to happen, and now what happens next is there will be protests. There have to be protests. This has to have a massive, massive response. And that response will be used to justify violent crackdowns everywhere. My point is that where this is going to go is going to play into the hands of the worst aspects of our government that seek more power, more oppression, more control. And I don't know how to avoid that. Because you have to pick a side. You have to stand up in the face of something like this. But then we know where that will go.
Well, the only hope, as far as I can tell, is that Trump is an adult old man who will die soon, and JD Vance doesn't have the stones to become a totalitarian dictator.
I disagree. It's not about just him. Um,
Well, no, I hear you, and I know that he has a lot of big money backing him, but I'm just saying that he is the least popular executive in American history.
I'm saying that
It,
they're going to use the building crises as justification to cancel the elections.
I hear you on that. And I know that that's their play. I acknowledge that. I don't know, like, if Trump were still alive, I would, when this happens, if he's still alive when this happens, I'm going to be a lot more concerned than if he's dead. The Republican Party is falling apart. I like this is the thing. They're like Wallace
It
and
is.
Gromit throwing train tracks in front of the train as quick as they
It is.
can. They cannot keep up.
It is. You are technically correct. The problem is they no longer need the Republican Party. They have institutionalized power within the executive branch, within a very
Yeah.
small group of people. Checks and balances. Congress has abdicated its role as the
Yeah.
overseer of the executive. The Supreme Court has abdicated its role and
Yeah.
ceded authority by with direct legal ruling to the president. This
Yeah.
we are living in the early days of the imperial presidency in its full form.
It's Hail Caesar all over again, man.
Um, and that, of course, brings us to the next thing that happened. And the next three things are deeply intertwined because it's all foreign policy. There was Venezuela. Where,
Oof.
so me and you have talked about Venezuela a good bit, where we did a blockade around Venezuela. We had the Iwo Jima. We had Delta Force, one of the largest military forces ever that is capable of being assembled by the human race against an army that barely exists, that is in worse shape than Russia. At the start of the Ukraine war, where they don't have their trucks maintained, where their tires are flat and dry rotted. So this was never going to be a real challenge. The Maduro government, and this unfortunately needs to be said, was wildly corrupt, is still wildly corrupt, propped up by the Russians and the Chinese, which gets into the Monroe Doctrine issue. But they were so unpopular for very good reason. When Maduro, 5 years after Maduro came into power, back in like 2018, 2019, there was a famine of such staggering depth that the average Venezuelan lost 20 pounds in a year.
Hmm.
There was no food. That was the wild
That's Mao
incompetence.
Zedong levels, man.
Yeah, yeah. That was the problem. And people will say that it's socialism. That socialism is these socialists
No,
just ruin their
it's a
country.
dictatorship.
It was a
Yeah,
dictatorship.
yeah.
It was
It's
a
cronyism.
well. Here's the thing. It's a mob state. It's run in a very similar way that Trump is running the White House.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same mentality. So when you're looking at why the United States got Maduro, there's lots and lots of reasons, and they're all slightly correct. Yes, he was involved. They're all very slightly correct. So yes, Maduro was a drug smuggler, and we've charged him with drug smuggling. He's not a citizen. We can't do that. It doesn't matter. It's
Right.
he was sovereign citizens, sovereign leader. But and most of those drugs went to Europe, and it was a very small amount, and it was just cocaine. It wasn't fentanyl. It wasn't meth. It wasn't crack. It was just coke going to Luxembourg. And
Right. Well, right. And it's Coke coming from Colombia. That's like it's the next stop is Venezuela, right?
yeah,
It's not that like they're a middleman. They're a fence.
Right.
Like it. Not
The
that
other
that.
the
You know,
other aspect is oil. He's been very open that we want the oil, that we're going to control the oil, and now he's saying that we that the White House will directly control all oil sales, and that he's ordering Exxon and Chevron to invest hundreds of billions of dollars into Venezuela. They're like, that would be
yeah.
wasting a shitload of money. Like, we're not
Because
doing
they're
that.
just going to take it over again in 3 years,
Exactly.
right? They already owe us. They already owe us
Exactly.
billions
And
of dollars from the last time.
so if they really wanted to do that, we would have to invade completely, put boots on the ground, turn it into a forever war, and fight
Yeah.
in a mountainous jungle. Like, even just to get to Caracas, the geography
Yeah.
of it is such that it's a sheer
It's
cliff of
Vietnam all over again.
it's a sheer
Yeah.
cliff of mountain at the coast. And the only way from a landing zone into the city is through a single tunnel that is very easily mined and garrisoned by militias, of which they have many. They're
Yeah, I was about
already
to say I've read 300. I've read the I know how this ends.
and it would work. There's no way to make that work in the way that they're talking. So really, and so you've got the Monroe Doctrine aspect where the Russians and the Chinese were using them, and the Chinese had done them with Venezuela like they've done to countries all over the world, particularly in Africa, where they'll part of the Belt and Road Initiative, where they give out these massive loans that they know will never be paid back, so they end up with the collateral of resources.
Yeah, it's a vassal state.
Yeah. So the Chinese were going to take ownership and development of the Venezuelan oil fields, and we said no, fuck that. That is true. That is very true. That is the part of the oil narrative that is technically correct. It's also the one that's never actually told.
Right. Right.
So the other reason for this is professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Is you have
Kayfabe.
It's kayfabe. For the wrestling people who would listen, who would know this, 2002, Brock Lesnar, who would go on to become the most decorated combat athlete in human history, signs with WWE. He comes in. He doesn't say anything. He is a giant brick of a man. And what does he do? He fights the jobber, Funaki. And then later he fights Spike Dudley. These little guys that can jump, that can be thrown, and he throws them around like rag dolls. Like, he gives Funaki a massive concussion when he just tosses him out of the ring. And so what that does is that sets Brock up as the unpredictable badass who can be who you don't know what he's going to do, you don't know who he's going to destroy, you don't know what he's going to do next.
This is an easy target to get morale up.
Yeah, and so it's not even morale. It's about instilling fear and tension on the rest of the world, and it works.
Sure.
And that brings us to part 2, Greenland.
Oh.
So I'm going to break this down very simply. This is goddamn stupid. This is really, really dangerous.
This could end terribly.
This is ending terribly. So I've said for a very long time that NATO was functionally done, and we didn't know how it would die. Well, now we know.
With the invasion of Greenland.
So Greenland is a giant island in the Arctic, mostly ice. A lot of indigenous population has been under the control of Denmark for many for centuries. Denmark is one of our closest allies and has been one of our closest allies since the Revolution. They were one of the very first countries to recognize an independent United States.
It was like them in France around the same time.
And we have had good relations with them forever. So when the United States became the dominant power in the world against the Soviet Union, we had agreements with Denmark that give us control over Greenland, functional control. Like, we already have military bases in Greenland. We already have deals to exploit minerals and resources in Greenland. We can do that whenever we want. We don't even have to ask. We do them a courtesy of asking whenever we do anything there, but we already have it by treaty that we can militarize it as much as we want. This invading Greenland gets us nothing. Absolutely nothing. What
it takes away, actually, yeah.
Because what it does do is it destroys the largest and most successful military alliance in human history, NATO. It is an achievement of our species to a large degree. Has it always been good? No. Has it done everything right all the time? Oh, God, no. But it is still one of the most important things we have. And it was always sort of slowly degrading since the Soviet Union collapsed because it existed.
It was inevitable, yeah.
Yeah, but in order... NATO works because of the United States. The Article 5 of NATO, you probably heard, is where when one is attacked by a major nation, all vote to respond together. And the way that happens is there's a command structure in place. The Supreme Commander of NATO has always been one of the top American generals. And he assumes control in the European theater of every other country's military simultaneously, and they work together simultaneously in such a way that you don't have to worry about the French army and the German army collaborating and being on the same page for maneuvers.
It's a Voltron situation.
Yeah, it's all together one, and that's why it's so effective. By doing this,
but now,
by doing this, now this gives Russia the ability to invade Europe, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, and Romania. They are next. And at the rate this is going, we will also be forcing the Ukrainians into a bullshit peace treaty that will not actually be peace because they will be on their knees. They will be giving territory to Vladimir Putin, giving them time, giving them resources, giving them the ability to rearm and regroup. And that's just ignoring the justice that's required for the citizens of Bucha, for the people for the schools turned into rape camps, for the children taken into Siberia to be given to Russian families to be raised as Russians, all of which is acts of genocide. And so the Russians will come back and hit Europe in the face, and we won't be there to help, which was the cornerstone of the last 80 years, that created the most prosperous time in human history. And at that I will move to part 3, Iran. This is probably the good news. This is as good a news.
Probably.
This is as good a news as I've got. We are likely in the final days and months of the reign of the Ayatollah Khomeini and the revolution that happened in 1979. The Ayatollah is in his 80s with cancer. We don't even know how he's still alive at this point. And there are people protesting and rioting now in the streets in every major city, in almost every province. And the reasons for it are what make this so special. Because about every 8 years, there's another uprising, massive unrest, brutal oppression, but it's always for the reasons of freedom of speech, freedom of dress, the ability to wear what you want without being picked up by morality police and raped to death. Like that's a thing that happens. This is fundamentally different.
Yeah, I mean there was that woman, I believe it was 2024, who her head was bashed in by the morality police, and there was this huge
because she wasn't wearing her religious hat well enough. So the reasons for this are fundamentally more primal, more real, more tangible. For the last 11 months, they have had rolling blackouts nationwide. And you may be asking, how does that happen? It's Iran. It's in the Middle East. It has a shitload of oil. And that is true. What they don't have is electrical infrastructure that has been
Yeah,
maintained in
a
any way,
power
shape, or
grid.
form. Their power grid has not been maintained in 50 years, which means it's collapsing. So they've had rolling blackouts nationwide, which impacts schools, which impacts hospitals, which just in every way of life has been hit by this for the last year. In about 6 months ago, we got a final report that the capital city of Tehran has, I think, about 10 million people, has to eventually soon be evacuated, and they need to build an entire new capital city because they're out of water. Because they're out of water. Now, keep in mind, Persia, an empire that lasted thousands and thousands of years, had a way of managing water that was really effective. And those systems were destroyed so they could build a shitload of dams because for some reason countries in Central and South Asia, as they industrialize, they freak out and build entirely too many dams, and it always causes entirely too many problems. It's a really weird emergent phenomenon of dam building that I just don't understand. So now they're out of water. Now,
It's gotta be something psychological about like a scarcity mindset, and then also like an Ozymandias mindset, right? Like
yes, look,
we
we
have
built
to
the biggest
show.
dam. Ah!
Well, right.
And the final straw that has broken Iran is money. Their currency. So first of all, the inflation in Iran overall, total inflation is about 12%. Food inflation, is 70% year over year. It is 70% more expensive to eat than it was this time last year. And it gets worse.
And I was complaining about my groceries.
Right. And it gets worse because their currency has collapsed in the face of all these troubles. And as of several days ago, I think it's gotten a lot worse. One American dollar was worth 2.5 million Iranian rial, which is
Wow.
which was worse than the conditions of post World War I Germany. So they're done. This is the end of Iran this year. The Ayatollah will be done by the end of the year. That is my current prediction, and this comes on the heels of their entire international network being blown the fuck up by the Israelis. The Iraqi militias are wildly disorganized. Hezbollah was blown up in spectacular, terrifying fashion. Gaza is that level of hell, and that's the end of Hamas. So they're technically allied with Russia and China that use them for convenience sake with a couple things, but they're not going to step in and save the regime.
No, they're too busy dealing with problems of their own.
And now we know of at least I think it's about 200 people have been killed in the crackdown in the last few days. But we don't actually know because the Iranian government has cut off the internet. And so it is incredibly difficult for any information to get out. So when that turns back on, we'll see what's there. And I want to give, because I always think such big picture, I want to give a little bit of historical context. Persia was one of the first biggest empires in human history. And in
one of the longest lasting too.
In 2,500 years, they have only had 6 changes of government.
Wow, is that true?
Yes, 2 of which have been in the last century. This would make the 3rd in a century. So almost half of all their government changes have been in the last 100 years.
Wow,
that's the scale of this.
It's like a ball. It's like a bouncy ball bouncing, right? Like the first one is a half-life, and then the next one's a half-life of the half-life.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's a good way of putting it for this phase of collapse.
Yeah, well, right. It's like, the first bounce of the bouncy ball hits, and then it goes halfway up, and then it goes a quarter of the way up, and then an eighth, and then a 16th, and the ball just keeps accelerating down and down and down.
And all of these changes in the last century have been mostly internal, with some exceptions. So like, uh, they so Cyrus the Great created Persia. Then Alexander happened,
Right.
and then that lasted a really really long time, and then the Mongols happened, and then the Arab Islamic uh, crusade happened.
Ottoman Empire.
No, it was before the Ottomans. It was the Abbasids.
Oh,
It was
okay.
it was either the Abbasids or the Umayyads, the ones that came immediately after the Prophet died. Conquered it and then just took it over because they said we don't know how to run an empire. We live in the desert. We're nomads. You guys know what you're doing. You guys still run things. Just give us gold. And it's very so like
honestly, I get it. Honestly, I get it.
yeah, no, that's reasonable. Uh,
Look, this like I mean, like, look, if I could have seen, there's another world out there where the Taliban did this once they took over, right? They're
yeah,
like,
and yeah,
this is way harder than we thought.
Yeah, no, that's. So that is the big international news that is happening. This is the fastest shift in global politics in 100 years, and it's happening.
Years start coming and they don't stop coming.
And it's happening under simultaneously the dumbest and most powerful American president in history.
And somehow the most dementia. Somehow, like,
yeah,
we had
like they kept Woodrow Wilson hidden. His wife kept him secluded from everyone for years.
I'm just saying.
The Americans and the Israelis, Trump and Netanyahu, are already lockstep that they're waiting for the opportunity to strike.
Just
like
gobble them. Yeah,
we're going to be launching another strike on Iran, within the next month or so, if that. And it's that's a moment that is difficult to. There's an argument against it, but it's hard for me to make it, because that is the best chance that the protesters have of getting rid of them and maybe something better coming about. Is if we just help from the sky and blow up. I mean, maybe keep the Ayatollah for a trial, but blow up the fucking IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Which, for those of you who don't know,
I mean, the Ayatollah is going to be dead soon. You know,
yeah. But the presidency, the government needs. Yeah. There has to be some sort of Nuremberg version for Iran, and hopefully, if we can at least take out the IRGC. That will do more than anything else. For those of you who don't know, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, it's like if the U.S. Marine Corps was overseen by religious zealots and also owned about half of all the banks in the country. Then there's also the argument that we shouldn't be involved at all. We should just let them do it. I'm like, yeah, because most of the time we screw it up. If we kept it minimal, I'm okay with that. But we never do.
Right. It's like it's more of like, do we trust the Trump administration? Do we trust Pete Hegseth to do this? You know, that's the problem. Do we trust
the drunkest, most incompetent Secretary of Defense of all time?
Oh my God! And hold on, was Grant ever a Secretary of War or no?
Maybe. I'm going to find out. That's a good question.
Because drunkest is, I mean, like, it would be hard to beat if it was Grant, but, you know, he was competent drunk. He was a functional alcoholic. Yeah, he was Secretary of War, acting from 1867 to 68. So not the drunkest, but definitely the most incompetent.
Definitely the most incompetent. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can't beat Ulysses S. Grant.
No, I would love to see Ulysses Grant in a drinking contest against Pete Hegseth and watch Hegseth just.
It's gonna be that scene. It's gonna be that scene where Legolas and Gimli try a drinking contest, and he's like, "I think I feel something," and then Gimli passes out.
And to be fair, like Grant would just get drunk and angry and just beat him viciously.
Oh man, just he would just say some bullshit white supremacist thing, and Grant would just get over him and just start decking him over and over. Oh God, that's catharsis right there.
Yeah.
Look, there are so many people in this government right now. There's so many people in the Trump administration, and I'm not advocating for this. I'm just saying there are so many people in the United States Trump administration government that have never been punched in the face,
And you can
and it
tell.
shows.
And it's a
And it
problem.
shows.
Because
Steve
when you're
Miller is chief punchable face that hasn't been punched ever.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to punch him in the face. I'm just saying it's clear he's never been punched in the face, and his character would change if he was.
Yeah. He would know a little bit of pain. And being inflicted on by somebody.
And consequences. That's the other thing. It's about consequence. Talk shit, get hit is a thing for a reason, right? It's behavioral modification.
Also, the similarities between the similarities and the differences between Trump and Teddy are astonishing. It's like Trump is bizarro world Teddy Roosevelt. And I mean that in that he's much dumber
because he's selling the park. He wants to sell off the national parks.
Yeah,
he was a draft dodger, not a rough rider, right?
So again, Teddy Roosevelt declared himself a colonel, got his hunting buddies together, stole a ship, and went to Cuba and fought in a war without authorization.
That didn't exist. That didn't exist.
For fun. and made himself into a like, that's where the similarity is, because he stole a ship unauthorized and it was fraud. They didn't take San Juan Hill as his legend. So there's the similarity. Like, they're both masterful bullshitters. Teddy was also a badass.
Well, they were both outsiders in their party.
Yeah.
Right?
Like Trump did.
I mean, granted, MAGA isn't an official party, but it's very similar to Bull Moose in that way.
And neither of them had, again, outsiders, so neither of them had the ability to get things done through Congress, so they both acted...
So they just strong-armed it,
Yeah, they strong-armed it, and they acted unilaterally as in foreign policy. Because that was when we built the Great White Fleet, went all around the world, speak strong, carry a... Speak
softly.
Speak softly, carry a big stick. Thank you. And just became more letting everyone know that we're here, we're back on the scene, because we had been in isolation for so long. Whereas this is just more aggressive, destroying alliances while we retreat into isolation. That's why if Trump invades Greenland, it is going to backfire on him massively.
Yeah. Well, the head of Denmark was talking about how it's like the EU will kick you out of every base. We will take over every base.
That's the other super weird aspect of this. That we are fast tracking a federal Europe.
Well, what's interesting is what the Trump administration is doing to Canada, to Europe, and to Japan, right? Because they're all kind of reacting to how Trump is acting in a weird way, right? You've got the DIY party in Japan, which is like trying to kind of in different ways, but they're trying to echo what we're doing, right?
Yeah. Sanai Takaichi.
Right. Then you have like Canada was almost going to fall into a right wing, but then they saw what we were doing and said, fuck that. And meanwhile, us bullying around Greenland is causing Europe to have a common enemy, i.e. Trump. So they're reunifying somehow, even though that the EU was about to fall the fuck apart.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not trying to make us into the center of the universe here. It's just really interesting the ways in which...
But it's because we have been the dominant glue of the world, and we are now the dominant destroyer. And Europe, again, like you said, was falling apart for so many very structural reasons that have not gone away, which is why I don't know how successful it's going to be. But this is how you get a United States of Europe in some fashion. This is how you get a single European military, which is needed. Like, I want to see that more than anything now, since we're leaving. I want to see the Polish and the Balkans and the Baltics and the Romanians hold the line against the Russians. And I want to see this without a nuclear exchange, but without us there, that becomes more likely.
Well, I mean, France is already developing their nukes, and honestly, at this point, sure. at this point, I'm not saying that it's good for the human race, but if you're any middle level country, it makes sense for you to get a nuke, right?
Yeah.
Because like at this point, that is the only way people will take you seriously.
Yeah,
That's
like
the only reason we
that is
listen
the
to
only
anything
reason.
about Korea.
That is the only reason anybody. That's the only reason people care about Russia.
Right.
Like Russia
Right.
is
Or
not
North Korea,
like Russia. Russia's not a superpower. Russia's not even a great power. It's a middling power at best. Its economy is shit.
with asthma, right?
Yeah,
It's a middling power with asthma.
It's held together by spies and vodka, and you know, it's barely functional, and the reason it's barely functional is because Putin has run his government as the model for how Trump is trying to run this one. Because again, we can't trust the data collected by the government anymore because he's replaced the Bureau of Statistics leadership with people who will falsify the numbers in his favor.
Can I just say that Spies in Vodka would be a great movie about Stalin?
Oh my god.
Like the title Spies in Vodka.
Spies in Vodka.
Like
yeah, that'd be great. Now I just want to watch Death of Stalin again.
Jacob, we've been talking for nearly 2 hours.
Which is, that's good.
No, I'm just saying we should wrap it up.
Okay, so in conclusion,
come back to us when it all makes sense. What have we learned here today? I haven't learned shit. Hey, if you want us to have a giant mech, give us $3 million.
Give us $3 million, and we will buy a giant mech suit, and something will happen. We don't know what it will be, but we will have a giant mech suit. And if you really want something to give us $6 million, we'll have two, and we will fight each other.
Rock'em sock'em
Rock'em sock'em robots!